Let's talk about one of the most fascinating prospects in this upcoming NFL draft. What's up, everyone? It is Josh here with No Buts About It. And if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, what are you doing? You're missing out. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, go ahead, give this comment or give this video a like and leave a comment. But today or tonight, as you can see behind me, it's pretty dark out while I'm recording this. I want to talk about Louisville quarterback Tyler Shough. And Tyler Shuck is a guy who had a fantastic combine performance. He wasn't on a lot of people's radars. He was just on the list of possible quarterbacks that could be drafted. He was considered a day three guy, early day three guy, late day two guy by a lot of analysts. And then when he went to the combine and had a decent, pretty good performance, decent to pretty good performance. And none of the quarterbacks that actually did the combine really, you know, did amazing, I would say. So he did have one of the better performances, but his draft stock went up. And then it I don't really know what happened, but just slowly he's kind of been going up in his draft stock. Teams are either they're talking about him, saying like, "Hey, this guy is really good." Some of that might be smoke and mirrors, trying to scare other teams into trading up and taking him. There's all sorts of possibilities as to why this could be getting talked about. I'm not really super high on him. However, I do think he does have some attributes that I understand why teams like. He's definitely a big bodied player. He brings a massive frame to the quarterback position. At the combine, he weighed in at 6'4", but his pro day they gave him 6'5". At the combine, he weighed 219. At his pro day, he weighed 224 pounds. His hand measurement was the same at both, 9 3/4 inches. His arm length at the combine was 30 3/4 of an inch, while at his pro day it measured at 31 1/8 of an inch. Stretching out those fingertips, and then same thing at the combine. He had 76.5 inch wingspan, while at pro day 77 3/8 of an inch. His 40 was a 4.63 at the combine. He did not run at his pro day. That being said, though, he's a big dude. What do we say? 6'5", 6'4", 219, 224. So that's a pretty good build for the quarterback position. He also has been around a lot of current NFL quarterbacks. So he played on a middle school team with Brock Purdy. He backed up Justin Herbert at Oregon. He's played at Oregon. He's played at Texas A&M, and now he just came out of the Louisville um, system. So he's been around some guys, but he's also older. He's going to turn 26 during his rookie year. He's from the same high school recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence, and he is just now getting drafted. So Trevor Lawrence was a 2021 quarterback, and now Tyler Shough, who is from that same high school class, is just now going to be a rookie. It's kind of crazy how these ages kind of work out sometimes, but that's the reality of what happened. My other issue with Tyler Shough, besides just his age, is he has had a long injury history. I think he's broken his collarbone a few times. He's had some leg injuries. So that on top of the age just creates some issues for me. And because of that, he had not finished a season until this past season in 2024. 2024 was actually the first of 7 seasons where he played in more than 8 games. He had 2 seasons, one in 2020 at Oregon and one at 22 in 2022 at Texas Tech. Excuse me, I said Texas A&M earlier. I meant Texas Tech. Sorry, Texas fans. That's My bad. Anyway, he played 7 games for both of those teams in that season, but in 2018, Oregon played 3 games. 2019, 5 games. 2020 was that 7. 2021, Texas Tech, he had 4 games. 2022, he had 7. And 2023, Texas Tech, he had 4. Then he moves on to Louisville in 2024 and finally gets 12 games played. And he started all of those as well. But because of that, he hasn't really, he doesn't have a great sample size. Like, there's literally only one season here where we see that he has over 300 pass attempts. In fact, there's only one season where he has over 200 pass attempts, and that's that 2024 season. So I guess we'll look at that and we'll see what we got here. So that 2024 season, these are the stats. I had 3,195 yards according to PFF. Uh, each of those 859 of those yards were deep yards, and then he had 253 on screens. It is 62.7% completion rate and a total of 23 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Now, those look like good numbers. Those, I'm not arguing that. However, when you look at the film, and that's going to be playing over the top of this video, so you'll be able to see it from the Boston College game. He has a really good deep ball. He has a arm, it rips, it zips out of his hand. He can get it into some tight windows outside the numbers as well. However, he doesn't really, he's like intermediate passes are where he seems to struggle. It's almost like the closer to the line of scrimmage he gets, the more of a struggle it is. So my concern is at the NFL level when those middle coverages get better, when you have more coverage linebacks, when you have a higher elite cornerbacks who can play in the flat. Is he going to struggle with that? Because you can't just zip it every single play down the field. I guess theoretically you could, but uh, I feel like teams would pick up on that pretty quickly. You'd almost have like an Anthony Richardson situation with the Colts. I mean, that's really where Anthony Richardson strives, is the deep ball. And look how that's working out. But I, I'd like to see him improve on that intermediate to short pass situation. And he's going to be 26 this year. I don't like that we're talking about him improving at a basic thing, a basic function in playbooks. Um, and a lot of the analysis even says, the analysts are saying, yeah, draft him in the second round, but he's going to need a year or two to get ready. He's not going to be a day one starter. What do you mean he needs a year or two? So you're going to be 20, he's going to be 28 before you're even going to let him start in the league? Why am I drafting someone in the second round who isn't going to be able to start until they're 28? I'm pretty sure Joe Burrow is 28 right now. Can you imagine think about how long Joe Burrow's been in the league, since 2020. Imagine if he just started playing now. That'd be crazy. People thought the Packers were crazy for benching Jordan Love for a few seasons after drafting him in the first round. And maybe they have a point, but they waited like what, 2 seasons? It doesn't make sense to me. If you're gonna wait 2 seasons with Tyler or for a quarterback, don't draft the oldest or one of the oldest, if not the oldest prospect in the class. I mean, he just there's too much to work on. We'll go back to the stats here because he does have some good numbers that he puts up. So let's look at his overall passing stats. His passing grade, he had an 87.7 overall, 92.1 intermediate throw. I'm guessing those are the deeper layer of intermediate though. I didn't look at every single snap because I don't have time for that. But 91.8 deep, 91.6 when he has no pressure, 62.6 when he is pressured. Obviously, you'd expect those two numbers to be different. That's pretty vast difference, though. And again, that 92.1 intermediate grade, I don't see that. I'm thinking that's either he's got like a small sample size of intermediate throws or something. Because every time I see an intermediate throw from him, it is not great. Or those are those deeper intermediate throws on the range. They're not, his 5 to 7 yard passes. I'm not sure what they're considering an intermediate throw at this point, but He he has potential. He could be a good quarterback, but he waits so long on the reads. That's part of the reason why he's so bad under pressure. He sits there. His time to throw is 2.92 seconds. It takes him 2.92 seconds to throw. To put that into, you know, get you an idea of what that means. There were only 8 quarterbacks, starting quarterbacks last season, who, and one of them was Justin Fields, who took longer than that in the league. Um, the only two that really had great seasons last year on here were Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, very mobile guys. Sam Darnold's on here, which we all know he struggles when he doesn't have a good O line because he takes forever to throw. Anthony Richardson's on here, Deshaun Watson, Brock Purdy. Caleb Williams took the same amount of time to throw, and Aiden O'Connell took about the same amount of time to throw. So that kind of gives you an idea. Now, Tyler Shuck is a somewhat mobile quarterback. I'd still consider him a pocket passer, but he can run with the ball if he needs to. There were some designed runs in that Boston College game as well. So I wouldn't take it completely out of his game. Again, he's a bigger body, so he can, knock some guys down while he's running. But overall, he just, he doesn't really wow me. He doesn't wow me to what I would want in a round two quarterback. If I am, you know, one of these teams that they're talking about possibly taking a quarterback, they're saying maybe the Giants take him and they wait a year and let Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston kind of, educate him. Or the Pittsburgh Steelers could take a quarterback in the second round. The Browns could take a quarterback at some point. And he just doesn't really, wow me. He doesn't scare me. I haven't seen enough from him there. His advanced passing stats, 75.1 adjusted completion rate. So again, pretty good, pretty good. 9.7 yards per target. Again, he likes those deeper throws. He likes to, whip the ball out. He's got some zip on his arm. That's good. 5.1% big throw rate. That's because he likes those deep throws. Once again, 1.8 turnover worthy play rate. That's not a bad percentage. Um, so but again, let's look at the context here. Is that because he's throwing the ball deep where there's not a lot of safeties? There's not a lot of corners. They're all playing up tight, and he's throwing the ball deep, and there's really only two guys back there, his guy and one guy from the other team. So it's going to be harder to get those turnovers for the defense. And like we just mentioned, he had those 2.92 seconds to throw. So Tyler Shuck, overall, I would say he has potential. Great he has great potential. He's got a great frame. He's got a great arm, but he doesn't quite have the reads down. He doesn't quite have the understanding of the game on that short to intermediate level yet. And that worries me with his age. If we're talking about him and he's 24 and we're saying, hey, he's going to sit for a year or two, that'd be different. That'd be completely different. I would say, hey, you know what? That's fine. But we're talking about a 26-year-old or a guy who will be 26 soon, sitting 1 to 2 seasons, and then you're potentially finding out he's not worth it. At that point, why aren't you just waiting a season to draft a quarterback who will be a day one starter? It just doesn't make sense to me to draft him in the second round as a backup. And he's being lauded as like a top 50 prospect. I hope he proves me wrong. Anytime I say anything critical of any of these guys, I hope they prove me wrong because I do truly just want the best players out there because that's what makes the game the most entertaining for fans. But I do not get the hype behind this guy. I hope that he is able to, figure it out, get through the reads faster, get that time to throw down. Injuries aren't really in his control, but those are an issue. I hope that he can get through a season healthy. I just I don't see it, guys. I'm gonna be honest. But those are my thoughts on Tyler Shuck. We'll see if he gets drafted in round two. That's where the Beast has him from the Athletic. And I've seen other, I think PFF has him in rounds 2 and 3 now. NFL.com has him rounds 2 and 3. So quite a few sources have him up there. I'm not ready for it, but we will see what happens come draft day. It's less than a week away. Uh, I'm Josh Butts. That is the wrong subscribe button. And please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts about Tyler Shuck. And until next time, go do something nice for someone.